Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the game according to me. It's been a pretty big while since we've had a podcast and some sports to talk about. The last one we did was the Super Bowl. We talked about the Super Bowl and everything like that. So now here we are a month later, and this is what I plan on doing. Is until I can get the time to do maybe a podcast, be it weekly or twice a week or bi-weekly or something like that. We're gonna go month by month up until we get to like late August when football time comes around, and then we'll start doing it back weekly as we talk about football. But for the football offseason, we're going to go by monthly. And I'll try to do it maybe at the end of each month, where I sit down and we talk about what happened in that month in the world of sports. And since the last podcast, which was the Monday after the Super Bowl, it was Valentine's Day, if I remember correctly. Since all of that happened, there's some other things that went down. The Major League Baseball lockout and the Olympics happened around the same time. It started on Super Bowl Sunday, I believe, or the weekend of Super Bowl Sunday. Unbelievable. The NBA has been fast and furious, and how about fast and furious? How about the changing landscape of the National Football League? We're gonna keep that last because we got so much to talk about there. But we're going to start off with the NBA and their playoff push, as teams have 8 to 10 games left in the season, mostly, and we're starting to ramp up, and teams are starting to jockey for position because they don't want to get in that 7, 8, 9, 10 area of the conference to where they have to play a playing game or one in I don't want to say one and you're done, because if you're the 7 or 8 seed and you lose that first game, you play against the 9 and 10 seed, so it's actually 2. So you wouldn't say it's one and done, but because you have a second chance if you lose the first one, then you're in that 7, 8 seed spot. But yeah, the playoff push is happening. There's been some jockeying around, and let's go ahead and let's look at it. Let's start with the Eastern Conference, as we just seen. Really, as a 6-game win streak has happened. Here we are, the Boston Celtics, 47-28, tied for the Heat. Deadlocked. But because I guess of the head-to-head, the Celtics are the 1 seed, the Heat are the 2 seed. So that's been a shocker. We get the Boston Celtics have been on a roll. They've won 9 of their last 10. Like I just mentioned, a win streak of 6. So they've been incredible. The Heat having some problems. They've been on the other side of things. They've had a 4-game losing streak and lost 4 of their last 10, including a couple, sometime last week, Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, Udonis Haslem mess that went down on the sideline. So they were the 1 seed. Now they've dropped to the 2 seed. The Milwaukee Bucks are the 3 seed, half game behind them. Won 7 of their last 10, but they lost their last 1. Same thing for the Sixers, who have the same record as the Bucks of 46-28, a game and a half behind the first playoff spot. They won 6 of their last 10, but lost their last game they played. My Chicago Bulls are in 5th spot. Right now they've got a great chance of staying there. The last game they beat were the Cleveland Cavaliers. 43-31 of the Bulls are 3.5 games out of the first place spot. I don't think they have any shot of getting there. I'm not sure they have a chance right there. Right now, they're more likely to drop lower than to get into that 3-4 spot, I would say. But their last 10 has been easy. It has been bad as well, losing 4 out of the, winning 4 out of their last 10. So they need to catch up as the games start to pile up here. The Toronto Raptors have 6. They were in that 7th spot for a while, but I think Cleveland's loss to the Bulls helped the Raptors jump up with a 42-32 record. 8 of their last 10 have been wins. They're on a 2-game winning streak. So good for the Raptors there. Like I said, Cavaliers have dropped to 7. They're 41-33. 5 games out of first place. Lost 3 straight. Losing 6 out of the last 10. You know, the Hornets are in 8th spot. They're tied with the Nets in the 9th spot, 39-36. 8 games behind first. Both teams have won 7 of their last 10. The Nets have lost their last one, and the Hornets have won their last 2. So they are in. And the Hawks are 37-37, 500 record, on a 1-game winning streak, winning 6 out of their last 10. The 11th seed Knicks, I think it's over for them. They are 5.5 games out of the 10th spot. I don't think they'll make it up, unfortunately. So that is the thing. And the Wizards, same thing at the 12th spot, being 6 games out of the 10th spot. So right now we're looking at the Eastern Conference. We're looking at the Cavaliers and the Hornets playing the playing game. The Nets and the Hawks playing the playing game. And there is no worry because the Nets, but there still is a worry because the mayor of New York City has decided to lift the vaccine mandate for performers, you know, not only just like, you know, athletes, but, you know, the performers on Broadway and other things like that. They can now, if you be unvaccinated, like Kyrie Irving is, you can now do those things and go into those buildings and do your Broadway plays, or you can play baseball, which that was something you didn't think was necessarily, but it was kind of weird that even though the Mets and Yankees play in outdoor stadiums, that they could, you know, their unvaccinated players wouldn't be able to play at home. So, but I think because of that, because of the Mets and Yankees in the weight that they pull in that city, I think that kind of rushed the cancellation of the vaccine mandate from the new New York mayor. And the side effect of that is allowing Kyrie Irving now to play. Now, with that said, he's still out of another thing because he may, you know, the Raptors are in 6th spot. The Raptors could fall into one of those 7-8 seed spots, meaning if the Nets had to go to Toronto, Kyrie Irving could not play in that game because Toronto also has a vaccine mandate where nobody who is vaccinated can play, you know, can come into the country and play. So they don't even have fans anymore. Toronto plays in front of an empty stadium. So they are, some may say they're doing the smarter thing, but that's neither here nor there. So the Nets are not another way it is right now, but it would be very interesting to see as this continues on where they fall in those spots, and whether or not the Toronto Raptors fall back as well, and do they go, would they have to go face the Raptors at home in Toronto, leave without Kyrie Irving? So all of that is going to be one of the biggest stories in the Eastern Conference as we head down the stretch. Also, what happens to those 4 teams at the top, the Celtics, the Heat, the Bucks, and the Sixers? Where do each one of them fall in the order, and who will have home court advantage, who will not? Let's check out the Western Conference. The Suns are in first place. They're the overall best team in the league. I think everybody says that. They've won 8 straight, won 9 of their last 10, 64-14. They've done a lot of that without Chris Paul, who came back just recently. So the Suns are looking to get some quality time together as they're getting ready to head into the playoffs. The Grizzlies are second place with a 52-23 record. Once again, playing without Ja Morant. I've heard a stat recently that they are like 14-2 without Ja Morant, which is crazy that they're playing that well without their biggest player. They've won 4 straight, won 8 of their last 10. This is kind of a surprise, big time. We did not see this from the Grizzlies coming up, you know, being this good this way. We thought maybe they'd be a playoff team, but not maybe the second best team in the Western Conference. Maybe the second best team in all of the NBA behind the Suns. The Golden State Warriors are third place right now. Steph Curry has a foot injury. He's not playing well. Draymond Green just came back, so things are still getting friction there. They're 5-5 in their last 10 with a 2-game losing streak. In the third place, they are 13 games behind the Suns, so nobody's catching the Suns. The Grizzlies are 9 games behind, so the Suns are it. I'm pretty sure the Suns have. It says here they clinched the #1 spot. Yeah, so or at least is it? Well, it's whatever it is. They clinched something. They clinched the conference, so they are the #1 seed. The Grizzlies are the #2 seed. Everybody else is fighting for the other seeds. The Dallas Mavericks, who've had a great second half of the season, are #4 seed with 46-29, 6-4 in their last 10 one-game winning streak. The Jazz are fifth place, 45-30, 4-6 in their last 10 4-game losing streak. The Nuggets are sixth, 44-31, 5-5 in the last 10 one-game winning streak. The playing teams, the Timberwolves, 43-33, 6-4 in their last 10 one-game losing streak. The Clippers are 36-39, 2-8 in their last 10, a 5-game losing streak for the Clippers. Pelicans are 32-43, 5-5 in their last 10, a 1-game winning streak. And we've been seeing video of Zion Williamson, trying to get back into the game. So him not playing all season, and he could end up playing in playing games and maybe even playoff games as well. This could be unreal to see what we're seeing this year from the Pelicans and Zion Williamson. The Lakers are in 10th place, 31-43. Lost their last 2. They are 3-7 in their last 10, and they really need to look at them because we have the Spurs are right behind them. They're a game behind them, 30-44. They're on a 3-game winning streak, winning 6 out of their last 10. The Trailblazers are there as well. They are 4 games behind, 27-47. They but being on a 3-game losing streak and losing 8 out of the last 10, they're probably more or less sliding backwards than going forward. But really, the Lakers should only be worried about those Spurs, and they get the two together. Anthony Davis still is not back. LeBron James is pretty much doing it by himself. He's set to scoring 30 a night to do this. So we'll see if the Lakers end up in the play-in tournament or if they end out. If the Lakers end up out of the play-in tournament, for me, I think you would need to just seriously to think about getting rid of everybody, including LeBron James. Because he wanted Westbrook to come out to make a big 3, I guess, and it just has not worked. And instead of trading Westbrook again and trying to bring somebody else in, and Anthony Davis is just he gets injured so much, and Charles Barkley lovingly, jokingly calls him street clothes, because he's always in street clothes, but he's not lying. And you have to think about maybe getting rid of him too. And you're gonna get rid of him, you might as well get rid of LeBron, get what you can for him. Of course, you say to LeBron, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? You want to go to New York, or you want to, play for the Knicks, or what do you want to do? But this could be one of the most improbable runs from the Lakers ever have in this 4-year stretch. LeBron gets hurt in his first year, tears his groin, they don't make the playoffs, they come back the COVID year into the bubble, they win the championship. And the last 2 years have been disappointing at the very least, if not all in all out awful for the Lakers. So just unreal what is happening right now with the Los Angeles Lakers, and unreal what is happening right now all over this NBA. Like I said, we're going down the stretch. The playoffs are very near. We're maybe 3 weeks away from the regular season being over and the playoffs happening, and it's going to be a grand old time, I tell you. I cannot wait to see what happens down this stretch. So there was some big worry that we could get a lot of games missed for the lockout. But Major League Baseball and the MLBPA, they came together to reach the deal for a new collective bargaining agreement. It ended the lockout at 99 days. The union voted to approve this new proposal by a 26-12 margin, a supermajority of or 20 votes, with all that was required for the new agreement to pass. But it is notable that 8 members of the executive subcommittees all have voted no. So think about that. They all voted no. The owners ratified the 5-year new CBA Thursday night, voting 30-0 in favor of it. And this is I was reading this from CBSSports.com, written by R.J. Anderson from March 12th of this year. MLB's off-season business, trades and free agencies are expected soon. Players will report to spring training in the coming days. MLB teams are set to play a full 162-game season. Opening dates April 7th, per CBS Sports headquarters Jim Baldwin. The lockout started on December 2nd and ended in 99 days. The MLB's first work stoppage since 1994-95 player strike. There is some people that are saying that the owners waited more than 6 weeks to make their first proposal, and then things finally heated up in February. We saw in Florida, the agreement was reached on the Thursday, and then we have the new proposal for the CBA. Here are some of the things that are going down. CBT threshold is going to be the $230 million in 2023, and he's going to peak at $244 million in the final year of the CBA. The CBT penalty tier, the introduction of a new tier starts at $60 million past the threshold. The highest tier usually sit $40 million above the threshold. And I think the CBT, if my understanding of this is correct, that is like the tax. That is like what you can't go over, before you start getting taxed as a club. You can't go over the $230 million right now for 2023 as your roster. So that's one. The minimum salary has been raised from to $700,000 and is going to peak at $780,000 in the final year of the CBA. I can talk. I'm not a moron. The pre-arbitration bonus pool is $50 million. In the postseason format, they're going to go from 10 teams, 5 in each league, to 12 teams. And there are some other things that have been agreed upon as well, like the one that I hate the most, the designated hitter is now universal, which means that my team, the Chicago Cubs, does not have 50 wanted pitchers, usually designated hitters, although they did make a rule stating that, and this is the Shohei Ohtani rule, that you can have your pitcher hit in the DH spot, meaning so that so that when you take out your pitcher, you don't lose him. He can still bat for you, unless in the past, if you need to keep his bat in the lineup, you had to move him to a position. But now you can pitch him at the DH, and he can be a and so that you don't have to lose that. But again, I'm not a fan of the DH. I don't like the DH. I tolerate it when it needs to be tolerated. But otherwise, I don't like it. I don't like American League Baseball. I like National League Baseball. I think having a pitcher there gives you more strategy and more. It's a lot better brand of baseball. So I hate this. Baseball for me is already a peripheral sport, so to speak. I don't, it's one of the ones that I don't. Well, I wouldn't say that I don't care about, because I do care about, but. Like it's very much like I will sit down and watch a Lakers Spurs game on NBA. Of course, I will watch a Jacksonville Jaguars Houston Texans football game. I will watch that, without question, because it's football. You know, but I wouldn't. But you would not catch me watching a Anaheim Angel Oakland A's game. I'll watch the Cubs games. I'm a Cubs fan, but will not watch any other games for the most part. And so, and now with the designated hitter, I'm really not. I'm not know how many Cubs games I'm gonna watch. So it is just what it is. But yeah, they came together. And they pushed back opening day. They're gonna play a 162 game season. There were some big things for like you know, they had to deal with. You know, the thing about, you know, the when it comes to players and their, you know, Super 2 or whatever. I didn't think that was something that was a big thing, because the players went free agency early. The owners were never going to give that to them. The 12 postseason was, I think, was a big thing, because I think, you know, the owners had wanted 14 playoffs, but and so the players were not, but they got their wish, so now it's a 12 team, 4 games. I guess, like, you know, teams are going to be allowed to have advertisement patches on their jerseys, just like the NBA has it, just like it was NASCAR who started it. You know, it's going to be an international draft. Apparently, they continued. They're going to. It says here, they're going to continue talking about the international draft with a late July deadline. So, for instance, the Cubs signed a player from the Korean League or the Japanese League. I think it's Saiko Suzuki is his name. If that's not his name, I apologize if I screwed that up. But, you know, he's coming from over there in Asia, and he's coming here now. But I think if they get that together, he would now be eligible to be drafted in June when they do the draft. So yeah, and there's gonna be a lot of other things right now that is not on my mind, but did want to talk about the lockout and the things that are going to happen this year. And yeah, so if you're like me, and you know, baseball is kind of like a peripheral sport, you know, for you to watch or something like that, you just watch your team and everything like that. Don't really watch anybody else. I guess, you know, depending on how you feel about, you know, designated hitter, you'll be watching a lot more of it, I guess. You know, maybe you won't. Maybe you try to give it a shot. For me, I like to say that I wouldn't watch anything, but, you know, come April when the game is on and something like that, and it's you know, and the playoffs, the NBA playoffs start to drag on, you know, and you know, the teams get lesser and lesser, and it's in May, and it's a Saturday afternoon, and the baseball games are not going to happen until later on in the evening. Basketball games, excuse me, are not going to happen until later on in the evening. You'll probably catch me see if my Cubs are on Major League, you know, in the MLB network, and if they are, I'll probably turn it on and watch it. But I'm very disgruntled about the designated hitter. I hate that. Absolutely hate it. So I mentioned this earlier. The Olympics happened, and according to research and everything like that, not many of you watched it. No, I didn't watch any of it. So just really quick. I just want to just to give it some time. The top 5 medal counts. Norway had 37. Germany had 27. The People's Republic of China had 15. The United States had 25. Sweden had 18. So why? Wait a minute. See, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I guess that's because it's in order like that because it's gold. Because Norway had 16 gold, Germany had 12 gold, China had 9, America had 8, and Sweden had 8, and the Netherlands had 8. So if we go by order of total, there we are. Norway 37. ROC, I think that's Russia, had 32. Germany had 27. Canada had 26, and the United States had 25. So those were the top 5 in order of the total Olympic medals. And we had some skiers. One is it Michaela Schifrin? I think. Let's see. Yeah, Michaela Schifrin. You know, she was supposed to be like one of the ones that you know was going to dominate this Olympics, and she really didn't. She did almost worse. I think she won a couple of medals, but she didn't do what good as people thought she was, and so there was some disappointment there. And Shaun White, snowboarder, he finally retired. This is his last Olympics, so. And he's been doing this for years. He's been doing. I remember being a teenager and hearing about Shaun White. So he's probably as old as I am. I am 40. So he's either older than me or he's younger than me. One of the two. But I remember I've heard that name for a long time, Shaun White. So yeah. So a lot of the Americans were done. So. As I clicked on Shaun White, here's a story comes up. Shaun White's mom stepped on Rosie Perez's Oscar dress. It was bad. If you didn't catch the Oscars last night, there are still people talking about the slap heard around the world. That's Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. So, yeah. Whatever that is, I have my thoughts on that. You can go check my Twitter at AJTRIP20 for my thoughts on Will Smith and everything like that. But yeah, so it was a down Olympics for America, but. And some of its big stars, and apparently the down Olympics for everybody. As I mentioned earlier, it was one of the lowest rated Olympics it ever has been. So, I'm not sure why. If it started, it was. I guess you can't blame them, because the NFL pushed everything back because of their 17th game. So I don't know if you can, say that if they didn't watch because of the NFL. I just don't think they didn't watch because, maybe it's the time difference, all being over there in Beijing and, staying here, who knows. But whatever it was, the Olympics happened. And people were there to enjoy it, and a lot of people weren't. So that's that. Next. Okay, so now let's get into the NFL. NFL is king as it continues to show this offseason. Man, a lot of things to talk about. Let's start with the draft. The draft is coming up next month. We're 31 days away. April 29th. Or April 28th, excuse me, is going to be the first draft. Thursday night. So, you have to pay to see Mel Kiper and Top McShay's draft. So, but I do have the first 5 here for you. He has Jacksonville Jaguars taking Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan first. The Detroit Lions taking Kyle Hamilton second from Notre Dame with safety. The Houston Texans taking Ikem Ekwonu, the offensive tackle from North Carolina State, third. Drake London, the wide receiver from USC, goes fourth to the Jets. And Evan Neal, offensive tackle from Alabama, goes fifth to the New York Giants. As my Mel Kiper's mark draft 3.0. And some of you guys they do trades and everything in their mark drafts and all that good thing. So while I was looking for a place that would have maybe some, that would have McShays or Kuipers, Mark Draft, those are the two guys I trust the most, obviously the ESPN guys. Well, not want to say trust the most, but who I like the most. I found this website called the Draft Network. And the Draft Network, well, you can create your own mock draft. So now I now can do a mock draft. And I did a mock draft. Again, you can go to AJTRIP.com on my Twitter account and check my tweets. I had my mock draft up there. But let me give you the first 10 of my mock draft. I have Aiden Hutchinson going to Michigan from Jacksonville Jaguars. I have the Detroit Lions taking Kayvon Thibodeau of Oregon. I have the Houston Texans taking Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback of LSU. The Jets taking Evan O'Neal, the tackle from Alabama, protecting Zach Wilson. New York Giants, I have the Ikem Okwunu, the tackle from North Carolina State, going to the Giants. Number 6, I have Charles Cross, the offensive tackle from Mississippi State, going to Carolina. Number 7, New York Giants' second pick, as Kyle Hamilton of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish going there, the safety. Atlanta with 8th pick, I have Trevon Walker, edge rusher from Georgia, staying in Atlanta. The Seattle Seahawks taking Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher from Florida State. And at 10, the New York Jets, they still get Drake London, the wide receiver from USC. They get him with their second pick in the first round. And again, like I said, you can see the rest of the picks. They go out to, you can go to AJTRIP.com on my Twitter account and check those out as well. So it's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be very interesting. And I cannot wait for the draft. The draft is one of my favorite times of the year. And we're a month away. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome to see what happens and see what other trades and other things happen, because we have a lot of those happening and a lot of people getting picks from trading players. So, yeah, that's going to be fun to see. Okay, so let's start with Tom Brady. He, on February 1st, retired. He put a statement on his Instagram. I have always believed the sport of football isn't an all-in proposition. If a 100% competitive commitment isn't there, you won't succeed. And success is what I love so much about the game. There's a physical, mental, and emotional challenge every single day that has allowed me to maximize my highest potential. And I have tried my very best these past 22 years. There are no shortcuts to success on the field or in life. This is difficult for me to write, but here goes. I am not going to make that competitive commitment anymore. I have loved my NFL career, and now it is time to focus my time and energy on other things that require my attention. I've done a lot of reflecting this past week, and I have asked myself difficult questions, and I am so proud of what we have achieved. My teammates, coaches, fellow competitors, fans deserve 100% of me. But right now, it's best I leave the field of play to the next generation of dedicated and committed athletes. Now, he sent that out on, there's some more. Let's see. My playing career has been such a thrilling ride and far beyond my imagination, and full of ups and downs. When you're in it every day, you really don't think about any kind of ending. As I sit here now, however, I think about all of the great players and coaches I was privileged to play with and against. The competition was fierce and deep, just how we like it. But the friendships and relationships are just as fierce and deep. I will remember and cherish these memories and revisit them often. I feel like the luckiest person in the world. Now that, again, that was sent out to his Instagram on February 1st. I don't know, was it barely a month later? was it barely a month later? He made a release and announced that he was going to return to the Buccaneers for his 2020 season. which was unreal. He sent out another Instagram post or tweet. These past 2 months, I realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates and I love my supportive family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa. Unfinished business, LFG. That was sent out March 13th of the year. So he sent out the Instagram post on February 1st, and then on March 13th he tweeted this, saying that he was coming back. Wow. And this really sounded like, and you can tell because he does a radio show on Sirius XM, and there was clips from his radio show where it sounded like he didn't want to retire. It sounded like that he hadn't made up his mind, or whatever. And there was some things. When he made one question, it didn't sound like, he probably didn't come off the way he meant it, but he made a comment about like he spent the last 3 weeks with his family, and now he needs something else to do. So he made it sound like that spending time with the family wasn't as great as he made it out to be. So, but Tom Brady has come back, and a lot of people said that maybe he did come back, he would try to force his way out of Tampa. That's not the case. At least right now, he's going to play with Tampa. Things could always change, as it has, as we have seen this year in this season, this off season. So it is unreal what is happening right now. It is so real what is happening right now. So obviously he makes the Bucks a Super Bowl contender, obviously, right now, and they have, and since that thing, Ali Marpet, I think his name, I think he retired as well, but they re-signed the center, or I don't know if they re-signed the center, but they re-signed a lot of people. They re-signed Playoff Lenny, he's back. They re-signed his Godwin, he back. I think maybe they did sign the center. I think he did come back. So they're bringing back people, some of the same people for Tom to play with. So this right now is, it is what it is, and we'll see what else happens in this offseason. We'll see who else their draft coming up. So Tom Brady's back for another year, and we'll have to see what goes down with that. I want to bring up a story that came out earlier this morning. Peyton Manning wants Tom Brady to give back his retirement gift. So it says here, Peyton Manning this is from SB Nation. Peyton Manning reached out to Tom Brady when he announced his retirement, giving the NFL legend a nice handwritten letter and a bottle of wine. Now he wants it back. So I guess he wrote him a letter and a bottle of wine, but now since he's gone, he said he wanted it back. It says down here, yes, we all know this is a joke, but I am Team Peyton on this one. Give the man back his letter and wine. There was also another thing too, where somebody had bought the ball. It was like the day before he announced he was coming back. Somebody had bought the ball. If you remember in that game against the Rams, he threw a touchdown pass to Mike Evans. Mike Evans, as he normally does, throws the ball in the stands, get the ball in the stands away, and then that was put on sale, and some dude bought it. And the day before, thinking that was Tom Brady's last touchdown ball he ever threw, because the next day Tom Brady unretires, and there has been people, including the guy himself, saying that he was being burst for that, because he played a lot of that. I think there may have been something to the fact that Tom was going to do that. Let me quickly say here, Tom Brady buys back football. Let's see. Let's see if there is a story here. No, it doesn't say. Here, there's a lot of things that says here though. Tom Brady should buy back football that sold for $500,000. So Yeah, so Tom Brady's last T-ball sold at auction after Mike Evans gave it away for $500,000. So yeah, we'll have to see. There's no updates on whether or not that will happen. So we'll see. I thought there was something that is, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, Peyton Manning wants his letter and wine back. So we'll see. But Tom Brady retired and unretired. So that's one of the amazing stories that come from this NFL offseason, and we got more to talk about, don't we? And another story that has just been crazy this offseason for the NFL, the Denver Broncos made a trade for Russell Wilson. So here we go. The Broncos have agreed to trade quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, and defensive lineman Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2022, the 9th overall, and the 2023 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, 2022, number 40, and 23rd, and the 2023 second-round pick, and a 2022 5th-round selection to the Seattle Seahawks for Wilson, and a 2022 4th-round pick. So now Wilson, who had a no-trade clause, waived it. He passed his physical, and he was announced earlier last week by the Denver Broncos. So this is unreal. We can go back to last year when we had that talk about Aaron Rodgers, right? And Aaron Rodgers there had been a leak known that he had wanted to be traded from Green Bay. And then like a month or so after that had been announced, Russell Wilson had came out and said, he wanted some stuff, and then his agent told Adam Schefter that he said that he wasn't asking for a trade, but if he did, but if the Seahawks wanted to trade Russell Wilson, here's the teams that he would go to, and it was like New Orleans, it was Dallas, it was Chicago, it was Las Vegas. It was these teams that were announced, and he had people in Chicago going up in arms because this had to happen before the draft, because then of course the draft happened and we had Russell Wilson, so that had to happen before the draft. But yeah, so it has been crazy. They went through the year, he had that finger injury, and so I guess it was just time for a change in there. And now Wilson is in Denver, where more people say that all that team needed was a quarterback. They got the talent offensively and defensively, and now all they need is a quarterback to make this thing work out. And now they have one in Russell Wilson, and that AFC West is loaded. Starting with the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and his crew. But we'll get to it. They made a big trade this offseason as well. The Chargers, they made a trade. They traded for Khalil Mack from the Bears to go with Joey Bosa. They also signed J.C. Jackson in the offseason. They've gotten better, and of course we know Justin Herbert continues to grow as a quarterback. We just heard about Denver and what they did, and then now we've got the Oakland Raiders, Josh McDaniels coming from New England to to Las Vegas. Derek Carr is there, and they made a trade. They traded for Devontae Adams from Green Bay. So that AFC West is loaded. There's some really big talk about would all 4 teams make the playoffs? And when this first happened, I said yes. But things have happened since this trade happened in March 8th. Since this trade happened, there have been other things that have happened inside the AFC that makes me say maybe not. But man, it really truly does happen. So Russell Wilson traded from Seattle to the Broncos. And guess what, guys? We're not through yet. We got another story coming up right after this. Aaron Rodgers have been hemming and hawing about whether or not he wanted to retire, whether or not he wanted to go play another place, whether he wanted to stay in Green Bay. Well, he's decided to stay in Green Bay, and he's staying in there for good. He's got a 3-year contract worth $150 million. You got 2 voidable years in 2025 and 2026 that will help for salary cap purposes. But right now, he's on the books for a salary cap charge of $46,144,156. Because he signed this contract, that figure is now going to be reduced by $18 million, giving him more cap room. He's going to make $41.95 million this season, which is totally guaranteed. It's all guaranteed this year. So that's going to be amazing. If Aaron Rodgers plays only one season and then retires, or if he gets released or is traded in 2023, the Packers will have to absorb at least $68 million in dead money and up to $99.8 million if it occurred before June 1st. So a lot of things happen, and there's been this debate whether or not Aaron Rodgers was selfish for taking so long, because he was tired by taking so long to do so. It hampered the ability for them to sign Devontae Adams. Although it really seems like that Devontae Adams just wanted to leave, because apparently the Packers were offering him the same amount of money as the Raiders were. He just wanted to be traded. He wanted to go to Las Vegas and play with his college teammate and best friend Derek Carr. So there's been talk about that, and they've released some guys. They released Zadarius Smith. They have let Marcus Valdes-Scantling go. I think they also let one of their tackles go. They did re-sign Robert Tonyan to a 1-year deal with their tight end, but now, and maybe one of the reasons why they want to do this is because this wide receiver draft is deep. It's very deep. And at one point, before the real numbers came out, we had at least 8 receivers run under 4.3. 8 receivers had, originally the unofficial time was under 4.3. I think afterwards, we went down to maybe 3. It was only under 4.3. The others have went over 4.3. But it's just unreal, the speed and the talent that is in this draft at the wide receiver position. And now with 2 picks, they can redo those receiver positions and give Aaron Rodgers some help. You would think, you would wait and see how that goes down. But yes, there's a lot of talk about that. Here's where I fall on if Aaron Rodgers was selfish or not. Yes, he was selfish. Yes, and yes, he has that right to be selfish. But I don't think so. I think, for me, this is always just me, but I'm a different kind of cat. If I had the talent and the ability to play professional football in particular, I wouldn't be trying to break the bank, because I think I can make money other places. I can make money with shoe deals or commercials and things like that. Now I would want to get a nice contract, yes, but especially if I was playing for the team that maybe a team that I love, like if I'm being from Chicago and I was drafted by the Bears, they would get a monster hometown discount just because I was playing for the Bears, Or if I went to another team in my free agent year, I signed with the Bears, they would get a massive, hometown discount. Now this is a totally different thing. He's not playing for his hometown team, playing for the team that drafted him, though, and a team that he loves and respects, and a team that probably has a great chance of being, in the Super Bowl next year, even with all their losses that they have made on the offensive and defensive side. Once you have that guy, you can do that. Even though the guy has showed us that the playoffs are not the regular season. So, but I think that is the line you have to take with this NFL and this hard cap, and quarterbacks being the biggest, the most important position in all sports, not just football, but in all sports. Quarterback is the most important position, and that's why they're making all these types of money. And So I think, him signing this contract it's what it's all about. And so with Aaron Rodgers, it's kind of crazy. It even says right here the Packers will keep their linebacker Campbell on a 5-year, $50 million deal. But they still had to get rid of Zadarius Smith. So I guess they thought he was better than Zadarius. So, but yeah, man, it is unreal. But just when you think that the Green Bay Packers Aaron Rodgers contract was amazing, or last week there was a contract that was done that puts this one to shame. And it's one of the most controversial ones ever. Let's get into it right now. So last year, around this time, maybe a little bit earlier, Deshaun Watson was accused of sexual misconduct, sexual assault, sexual harassment, however you want to call it, from a massage therapist. He quickly declined it, said it was not true. And even more quicker thereafter, more and more ladies came out saying that he had, sexually assaulted them while they were giving him a massage. And it turned out to be 23 women accused him of this. 22 have lawsuits pending, civil lawsuits pending. 11 of them, half of them, I think, were taken to criminal court, but a couple weeks ago the grand jury did not think there was enough evidence to indict Deshaun Watson, so he went off that way. So when that happened, I should actually go back to last year. He had already wanted to leave Houston. Houston wouldn't trade him, especially after the accusations came down on him. And he missed all of last year, did not play one snap for the Houston Texans. So a couple weeks ago, when the grand jury comes back and clears him of these charges, or these accusations, whatever you may want to call it, it got heated up. Where would Deshaun Watson be in? They had teams interested. There was Carolina who was interested. Can't remember the other ones. Atlanta jumped in and interested. Carolina was interested in Deshaun Watson. Where we go? Cleveland threw their name in the hat. Cleveland threw their name in the hat so much that it pissed off Baker Mayfield, and he asked for a trade. The Browns then said, "Well, no, we're not going to trade you." But then a couple of days later, the Browns trade for Deshaun Watson, and included 3 first-round picks. So here we are. The Texans will receive 3 first-round draft picks in 2022, 2023, and 2024. In addition to a 2023 third-rounder and a 2024 fourth-rounder. As Watson made the decision to waive his no-trade clause to go to Cleveland after also meeting with the Falcons, the Saints, and the Panthers. The Browns are also set to receive a 2024 fifth-rounder next year, as part of the late round pick. And then there were 2 amendments as when the deal became official on Monday. Browns received the 2024 6th-round pick instead of a 5th-rounder, and the Texans received an additional 4th-round choice in 2022. They were not part of the original agreement, so it's just very interesting. So it's just interesting. And what it did was that the Cleveland Browns decided to tear up the contract extension that he had signed when he was in Houston and give him another contract, 5 years, that is a fully guaranteed $230 million contract from the Browns. he will receive a $45 million signing bonus, and his base salary for 2022 will be $1 million. Now they had a thing the other day, where a press conference where Andrew Berry, the GM, was asked about that, and he said no, that was for that was not because he might be suspended, because even though he's not been criminally charged with anything, he still, the NFL could still find him guilty of the code of conduct law in the NFL and suspend him game. And many people think that the reason why his salary is gonna be $1 million this year is so that the games he missed, he doesn't miss a lot of money, and that's why he's also gonna get like a $45 million signing bonus, to go along with that. So yeah, I mean, it was very interesting too, because the trade came one day after it was reported that Browns had been first team eliminated. Panthers were then no longer in the running on Thursday, setting up the stage for a apparent final two of the Falcons and Saints. Even so that Kyle Pitts, the tight end of the Atlanta Falcons, he put up on Twitter something that was like, he did something that get people so excited and so crazy that they thought that here was Deshaun Watson coming to Atlanta. But no, he's been traded to the Browns. Now, obviously, with 22 accusations of sexual misconduct stemming from massage therapy sessions, a lot of people have very mixed feelings about this. In fact, this morning on Get Up, Dominique Foxworth, he eloquently expressed his thoughts on this, and how this is something that he wants to root for Deshaun Watson. He wants to root for Cleveland Browns. He wants to root for his innocence, but there's a part of him that doesn't feel like that he can. It doesn't feel like he should root for him. It doesn't feel like there's something wrong, and that what a lot of people have been saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. 1, 2, 3 people, make an accusation. Okay, there could be some ambiguity there, where there's a setup being there trying to disrespect Deshaun Watson, so to speak. But when you get to 22, man, some people say that's just too much, and where there's smoke, it gotta be fire. Even if half of the women are lying, that's still 11 women who he has allegedly sexually assaulted during the massage therapy contest. And people, during the press conference, they asked him the question of why so many massage therapists, and he mentioned something about social media and said that he couldn't speak on the rest of it because it's an ongoing investigation. But he talked about that it was off social media, so who knows what this is. So yeah, and it's got a lot of people very upset about this. When I was doing the thing, trying to find an article about this trade so I can get the things right, I saw something where it said the wife of Jim Thome has canceled their season tickets to the Cleveland Browns because of this Deshaun Watson thing, and some people also may have done the same. And listen, here's my deal on here's what I always say. You're innocent until proven guilty. Right? You're innocent until proven guilty. Or until you admit guilt as well. He's not admitted guilt, and the grand jury has not determined that there was enough evidence to charge him with a crime. Right? But there's still 22 civil lawsuits there. Now, I'm not sure how that goes. I get very iffy about civil lawsuits because you don't go to jail. You don't go to jail. You know, if you're found guilty, you have to pay money, basically. And it's a lot easier to have to. It's a lot easier to do guilt in a civil lawsuit than it is a criminal lawsuit. So it is just a tough thing, because what you don't want to do, you don't want to say, you know, that 22 women are lying. You don't want to come out and just say that. But you also have to say that, you know, because of that, does he deserve to be suspended for that? You know, since there's no omission and he's found guilty, he's not found not guilty, he's not been charged with anything. Has he, you know? Yes, the fact that a player in the NFL has been accused of 22 counts of sexual misconduct is bad, horrible. But he hasn't been charged with crime. So should that happen? So I you know, when it comes to situations like these, it's so bad. It's so bad and it's so awful. It really is. And I guess you could say, if it, you know, it's almost like the Ray McDonald thing. The Ray McDonald, in any of his accusations, you know, that has happened, he's been cleared. He's been cleared of charges, and I think they like come out and said that, you know, none of these things happened that he was being accused of. But he kept putting himself in a situation to be accused by these things, you know, for these things. You know, when he was signed to the Bears, he had already had these accusations of domestic violence. These accusations had been you know, calmed down, right? Or had been I don't know what to use the word, but it seemed like that these accusations had been unfounded, right? These were unfounded accusations against him. Let's put it like that. But then he's arrested for going over and talking or meeting with, you know, this woman who made the allegations against him. And the Bears had to release him, had to cut him. Again, you did nothing wrong, but you're supposed to stay away from her, and you back over there screaming and yelling at her. Just stupidity, and maybe that's what this is. Maybe Deshaun Watson was only guilty of being stupid. But like Stephen A. Smith said, you should be punished for being stupid. You are when you're a kid. You know, your mom and your dad punish you for being stupid. So maybe the NFL does have the right to punish Deshaun Watson for being stupid if that's the only thing he was. And it's also hard to choose what you want to root for, because again, you don't want to decry any of these women and any of their stories, right? But I guess if you had to choose, you would rather these 22 women lied on Deshaun Watson, because at least then there wouldn't be 23 women actually. I don't think one of these women, one of the women that accused him of stuff is not doing a lawsuit. But I think, you know, I mean, 23 women were not abused. They weren't misused, you know, and essentially assaulted. There's definitely almost the other thing as well. So there's a lot of things going on with Deshaun Watson, and it's just a tough thing to talk about. It's a tough thing to make sure that you're fair to everybody. That you're fair to Deshaun Watson, saying that these are accusations and no criminal charges have been brought against him. We're also going to be fair in saying that these 22 women, they have a story, and their story is that Deshaun Watson sexually assaulted them, and we shouldn't take that lightly. So, just a tough thing altogether. And the least moment thing that is come to this is the fact that now Deshaun Watson, who is a great talent at the quarterback position, now comes in to Cleveland, a good team, and now is set up to vie for an AFC title and a berth in the Super Bowl because they have Deshaun Watson. For how many games? Who knows? But he becomes the best quarterback in that division. And then, of course, I guess the other question you can say off this is that where does Baker Mayfield now go? Because there were some other places he wanted to go that he can't go now, and we'll get to that next. Change the topic, make this more about football than the off the field stuff. So, like we mentioned, there were a lot of teams that were vying for Deshaun Watson. One of those teams was the Atlanta Falcons, along with the Cleveland Browns. Now, while Baker Mayfield got upset that the Cleveland Browns were looking to upgrade the quarterback position and get rid of him and asked for a trade, Matt Ryan doesn't seem it didn't seem like he had that, have that, thing as if, wow, you're trying to upgrade the quarterback position. I'm going to ask for a trade. It looks like that they both decided that with the best interest of not only the Atlanta Falcons but of Matt Ryan to go somewhere else, and the place that he went to was the Indianapolis Colts. Atlanta traded Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for a 2022 third round pick. And this is after the Colts traded Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders for third round picks in 2022 and 2023. Ryan will be the seventh different week one starter in as many years, and the fifth different starting quarterback in Coach Frank Reich's tenure. So the Colts and Ryan are restructuring his contract, a source tell ESPN Jeremy Fowler, and so that the 2 years and $53.9 million remaining on this deal are now guaranteed in some form, largely full, and that would help provide Indianapolis with some cap relief. So yeah, that was a big deal, and because the Colts is another team that looks like they've got it all. They got a pretty good offensive line, although some would tell you that they've got a good offensive line in the run game, not necessarily in the pass game. They don't protect the quarterback very well, but they do run the ball very well with Jonathan Taylor. They've got some nice pieces on the outside. T.Y. Hilton is still there. They've got I can't remember the name, but he kind of stood out this year. They got some other guys. I think they lost the quarterback, lost a receiver, Zach Pascal. I think that's him. They lost him in free agency. He went to the Eagles. So they've got a lot of stuff, going on there. In Coach and Chris Ballard, I think is a great GM, can fill the voids left by any of their losing free agents. Did they lose some other guys off the line or something like that? I think the Bears signed one of their defensive linemen, or maybe a linebacker. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I know they signed somebody. I'm not sure what position he plays. But so Chris Ballard, I think you can find out that he'll do a great job of filling in the spots and pieces for Matt Ryan. And now Matt Ryan can they take the Colts to the Super Bowl. I think Matt Ryan pushed the Colts over the top and makes them the best team in the AFC South. But they're still have to compete with Derrick Henry. It'll be a full, healthy Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, who is better than some people would say. He had a bad game. I don't even say he had a bad game. He threw 3 interceptions. 2 of them I don't think were even his fault. I think one was tipped, and the other one was a great play by the cornerback. So, but they still have Ryan Tannehill there. Julius Jones is a free agent. Julio Jones, not Julius Jones. He was a running back for the Dallas Cowboys, but Julio Jones, I think is going to see about that. Did somebody sign in Indianapolis from a receiver position? I don't know. It doesn't look like it. So who knows? But yeah, there's a lot of things going on there, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the South. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they signed Christian Kirk away from Arizona, and they signed a lot of guys in free agency, looking at Hope, Trevor Lawrence. And of course, the Houston Texans, they did Deshaun Watson. They got a bunch of draft picks they can use. And who knows, Davis Mills, when he got down to the end of the regular season, Davis Mills actually played pretty well. So they have their quarterback in Davis Mills the third, excuse me. So now with Matt Ryan in Indianapolis, I still feel that this is Indianapolis's division to lose. If Matt Ryan stays healthy, if Jonathan Taylor stays healthy, that line stays healthy, I think they will be. They could really make some noise in the AFC and in the playoff spots. But another big trade: Kansas City Chiefs traded 6-time Pro Bowl receiver Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins for 5 draft picks: a 2022 first-round pick, 29th overall, a second-round pick, 50th overall, a fourth-round pick, plus a 4th and a 6th-round pick in the 2023 draft. The Dolphins are also giving Hill a 4-year, $120 million extension, including $72.2 million guaranteed, and also including a $52.535 million signing bonus, making Hill the highest paid receiver in NFL history. The $72.2 million becomes fully guaranteed at the start of the 2023 league year. For Hill, who's already under contract for the 2022 season, the overall total value of the deal, including the $120 million in new money, is $141.685 million, including a $250,000 Pro Bowl incentive each season. Now, when the Devontae Adams deal happened and he became the highest paid receiver, I think Tyreek Hill, with 1 year left on his contract, he wanted an extension from the Chiefs. And it just wouldn't work because you're paying so much money for Patrick Mahomes, who's got $50 million a year basically. It wasn't going to have the money to pay Tyreek Hill, so they decided that Tyreek can look for a trade. The Jets and the Dolphins were interested. They both had trades in place for the Chiefs, and it was up to Hill to choose where he wanted to go. Hill went for Miami, but I think he's also a Miami. He's from Miami, so I think that's one reason why he wanted to go to the Dolphins and not the Jets. So there, in Tyreek Hill, we had another kind of crazy topic to talk about. When he was first drafted several years ago, he had something coming out with he had some domestic violence issues, things like that. And then even just a couple years ago, there was a tape that was put out where Tyreek Hill had some menacing things to say toward his girlfriend or fiance at the time, whatever. And that wasn't a good look as well. But the talent on the field speaks for itself. He's one of the fastest men, if not the fastest man in the league. He can be kick returns, he can punt returns, he can, of course, he does. And we talked about everything on the field. And he's just not a 9 route guy where he just runs a 9 route and catches it. He can do anything. You know, he can go across the middle. He can do drag routes. He can do square ends. He can do post corners and post. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. He is a wide receiver who just happens to be fast as hell. And that's gonna, and he's putting that. The Dolphins are putting that along with Jalen Waddle, who is also a very fast receiver, giving Tua Tagovailoa total, you know, total talent at the wide receiver position. They are trying. They are either what the Dolphins are either doing is they're saying we're either going to find out how good Tua is or how good Tua isn't. And if he isn't, then we are quickly going to move on from him and find us a quarterback who is good and who can get the ball to Hill and get the ball to Waddle in a, you know, as much as possible and outrun the defense and run circles around defenses in the AFC, including the AFC East, that division. Now, adding Tyreek Hill doesn't make them better than the Bills. I still have the Bills being the best team, not only in the AFC East, but in the AFC altogether. They signed Von Miller to a contract, who was, you know, on the Rams Super Bowl team, and that's something that they need on defense. They need a passer. They need somebody to get after the passer, to get after them Patrick Mahomes, to get after the Tua Tagovailoas and the Lamar Jacksons and the Deshaun Watsons and the Matt Ryans now in this super talented AFC. So they needed that. But yeah, it's just this is one of the craziest things to happen. This another incredible, you know, off-season move by an NFL team this year that is just legit out of your mind. And we still get more to go. You know, with Deshaun Watson going to Cleveland, where is Baker Mayfield heading? Will he be traded? Will he be released? What's happening down in San Francisco with Jimmy Garoppolo? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to trade him? So many other things with it as well that are just happening right now. We're going to in this podcast looking at some of the other moves that have happened during the offseason that you know maybe kind of very significant to the teams and to the leagues itself. So let's just run through these. We're going by position here. Quarterback James Winston, he signed with New Orleans Saints, 2 years, $28 million. Teddy Bridgewater, who was out in Denver, he has signed with the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be the backup to Tua, 1 year, $6.5 million. Marcus Mariota, when the trade happened for Matt Ryan, they immediately signed Marcus Mariota to a contract, 2 years, $18.7 million. Don't forget, Arthur Smith was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee when Marcus Mariota was there, so he has some knowledge of what Marcus Mariota could do and could be. So that's kind of seen there. Mitch Trubisky, he signed a contract with Pittsburgh, 2 years, $14.25 million there. Jacoby Brissett signed with Cleveland. He's going to be a backup to Watson. Tyrod Taylor signed with the Giants, 2 years, $17 million. He's going to back up guy out there, Daniel Jones. He's going to be there. And then we have some other ones there as well. Some notable names have not been signed yet. Andy Dalton, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Cam Newton, and others, many others. At the running back position, Corey Patterson, he signed with Atlanta, 2 years, $10 million, $10.5 million. Leonard Fournette, he signed with Tampa Bay. I talked about that, 3 years, $24 million. James Conner, he signed with Arizona, 3 years, $21 million. Chase Edmonds, who was in Arizona, he signed with the Dolphins. More talent around Tua. 2 years, $12.6 million. Rashad Penny, he signed with the Seahawks for 1 year. James White, their receiving back, signed with New England. Raheem Mostert, who is a very good running back, but just can't stay healthy. He's fast as hell as well. He signed with the Dolphins, 1 year, $3.1 million. So again, we got a lot of people. We got Miami's bringing a lot of talent, bringing a lot of speed. They're gonna try to outrun you, down there in Miami. And in that heat in Miami, especially in September and October, they'll be able to do it. You may see teams dragging at the end of games, and you're just seeing guys like Mostert, Waddle, and Hill running right by you. So there's some other signings with the running backs as well. With the wide receivers, we talked about Devontae Adams, who was franchise tagged by the Green Bay Packers. He then traded to Las Vegas and got a 5-year, $141 million contract. Chris Godwin, he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3 years, $60 million. Mike Williams, also another 3 years, $60 million, signed with the Chargers. Allen Robinson, former Chicago Bear, signed with the Los Angeles Rams, 3 years, $45 million. And that is what happened. They signed Allen Robinson, then traded Robert Woods, who had an ACL injury this year. Traded him to the Tennessee Titans. I knew the Titans had got another receiver. It was Robert Woods from the Los Angeles Rams. Michael Gallup, he signed with the Cowboys, 5 years, $62.5 million. Juju Smith-Schuster signed with the Tennessee Chiefs. No things about that. Talked about Christian Kirk, signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 4 years, $72 million. Christian Kirk is replacing DJ Chalk Jr., who signed with the Detroit Lions at 1 year, $10 million. Jamison Crowder signed with the Bills. Marcus Scantling signed with the Chiefs. Cedric Wilson, the former Cowboy, signed with the Dolphins. The Jacksonville Jaguars also signed Zay Jones, who was in with the Raiders. Alan Lazard was tendered by the Packers, 1 year, $3.986 million, and many others as well. Some big names that have not been signed yet. Odell Beckham Jr., he's coming off an injury. We'll see where he goes. He talked about how he tweeted that the Colts trade of Matt Ryan was a good one. Maybe putting it out there, he might like to try. Antonio Brown, I doubt he was going to be signed by another team ever again. Will Fuller the fifth, who recently played with Dolphins, but he was injured again. He had injuries this whole year. Emmanuel Sanders, I talked about T.Y. Hilton earlier. He's a free agent, so who knows that. A.J. Green, Sammy Watkins, Keelan Cole, Deshaun Jackson, Adam Humphries, just to name a few of the big name wide receivers being checked out there. And there's a lot of other ones like that. I'm not going to go through everyone, but just sort of pick out some names you might know. Zach Ertz, he signed with Arizona after last year's midseason trade from Philly to Arizona, 3 years, $31.6 million. The offensive tackle, the number one guy was Terran Armstead. He signed with the Dolphins, 5 years, $87.5 million to help protect Tua. Now, it's kind of tricky because Terran Armstead is a left tackle. Tua, though, is left-handed, meaning that the right tackle has to be the one that protects Tua's blind side. So we'll see if they move him around or if whatever they do. Orlando Brown Jr., who's franchise tagged by Cleveland, 1 year, $16.662 million. I talked about the center for Tampa Bay. I was correct. He re-signed with the Buccaneers. Ryan Jensen, 3 years, $39 million. Jacksonville Jaguars signed also Brendan Sheriff, 3 years, $49.5 million. Be a guard there. Let's look at down here. We talked about Von Miller signed with Buffalo, 6 years, $120 million. Chandler Jones, who was in Arizona, signed with the Las Vegas Raiders, 3 years, $51 million. Randy Gregory signed with the Broncos, 5 years, $70 million out there. Zarius Smith, who was, like I said, let go by the Green Bay, signed in the division, the Minnesota Vikings, 3 years, $42 million. Bobby Wagner, who has been released by the Seahawks, is not signed yet. We're still very early in the offseason. Still got a whole lot of places to go. J.C. Jackson signed with the Chargers, 5 years, $82.5 million. He comes from New England. Stephon Gilmore, who was traded mid-season from New England to Carolina, has not signed out yet. We'll see where that happens. And I think Tyrann Mathieu, he has not been pulled up yet at safety. So yeah, there you have it. Those are some of the bigger names that that are either re-signed with teams or made new places. Meaning that, and this is just the NFL is going to look a totally lot different than it's ever been, and it is mainly because of these quarterback trades that have happened this year. and it's been insane. It's been great fodder, excuse me, for people to talk about. Like it said here, this is my longest podcast I've ever done. I know I've gone through a few sports, but really it came down to NFL. The NFL is king, as it always is, and it's been amazing to see. I cannot wait what happens next, and we'll probably talk, and we will talk about it next month as well. All right, there you have it. What's been going on in the month of March, basically, in the world of sports. Again, NFL is king, is keeping us real throughout the months, and throughout this off season. I think the draft is going to be incredible. We're going to have some trades there as well. And like I just talked about, we still have quarterbacks and probably other players as well in places that they're not going to be in come September. So it's going to be all great and all fun, and I can't wait. We got the NBA playoff push happening as well. That's going to be fun to watch. And of course, we got the baseball stuff going on as well. Spring training happening right now as they getting ready for the season to start after the lockout. So there you have it. Once again, I'm going to be doing this every month towards the end of the month, talking about the stuff that has happened in the sporting landscape. And I didn't even talk about WrestleMania. We got WrestleMania happening next week, but I won't go deep into it. You can find more out about WrestleMania on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTRIP or youtube.com/AJTRIP20. One of those two, wherever it is. If you can go there, just type in AJTRIP in the search bar, and you can find me. And I'm going to have my predictions video up next week. For the prediction of NXT Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania 38. Then I'm going to have rebel reactions to Stand and Deliver Saturday afternoon, WrestleMania Saturday night, and of course WrestleMania Sunday night. So you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be insane. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. I appreciate you so much. And if you listen to the all 90 plus minutes of this, I really appreciate you even more, because I had so much stuff to get off because it's been such a long time since I talked to you. And so thank you guys so much for being here. And if you like what you've heard, please go to anchor.fm/Andre's Triple Show, and sign up to subscribe. It's 3 tiers. It's 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99. And if you want to support me and support this show, you can do it like that. You can also go to patreon.com/AJTrip to become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, you will be able to determine what you will hear on my other podcast, which makes you want to go there and subscribe to that as well. The Word According to Me. You'll be able to choose what videos I do on my YouTube channel, and we'll find something to do. If you want me to do something on Twitch, we'll do something there as well. Live, watch something or something like that. Do a watch along or whatever it is. We'll do something on there with Twitch. I promise you with that as well. So yeah, and if you don't have the money to support me financially, the best way to also support me is just to share this podcast, share my other podcast, the Word According to Me podcast. Like and rate my podcast high on whatever platform you're listening. Make sure you do that as well. Okay? If you can't support me financially, you can support me in that way as well. And believe me, any support you give me, whether it be financially or non-monetarily, it's perfect for me. I'll just appreciate the fact that you want to help a brother out. And that, my friends, is something that I truly, truly am grateful for. You'll never know how much grateful I am for. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. Again, we'll be back next month talking about what went down in the month of April. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.